You may not find this on the news, but this is happening. Take a look at this message where one of the people that I knew and followed me essentially reached out to me essentially and told me that they've been deported. When I asked why, they told me that they were on their OPT, they were not getting a job, essentially they were moving forward to the STEM OPT, and because they could not do volunteering anymore, they shifted towards a consultancy. They did not know that this consultancy is actually blacklisted because as you can see right now on the official website of the USCIS also, there's only about 4 or 5 names of the blacklisted consultancies out there. And these consultancies also, they're only blacklisted for just 2 years. So after that, they're still allowed to operate all over again, apparently. However, that is not the truth. The truth is that the USCIS does not always tell you which exact consultancies are blacklisted. It is up to you to figure out that these consultancies are blacklisted and you should not be investing your money, time, faith into them. First off, going through a consultancy, and this happens for every student, by the way, if they're not able to get a job in the US, maybe for their field, essentially the jobs are less, what they would do is they would start running their own payroll through a consultancy. Now, this consultancy does not offer them a real job of any sort. They say that we'll get you a contract. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But in all other cases, they basically allow the student to run their own payroll. What many students fail to realize is that many of these consultancies are actually blacklisted. They are not allowed to essentially hire candidates and then import them on the H-1B. If somehow your petition went through or you have an offer letter due to which basically you're moving forward and you're entering the US because of that route for the H-1B, what happens is that at the port of entry itself, even if you have the H-1B through one of these blacklisted companies, they can actually verify this information, and this full list, of course, there's hundreds of names in the list that they're not disclosing. Full list is not available publicly. So what will happen is that the ICE officers, the Immigration and Customs Department, basically, what they will do is that, okay, you're actually involved in one of these scamming companies, essentially, who are trying to game the system. And because of that, what they'll do is they'll cancel your visa, they'll deport you, and they'll send you back. And in many cases, they'll give you a ban also. 10-year travel ban also has happened in certain cases in the past, if you've checked on the news as well. These kinds of articles do come in from time to time. But with that said, they're not always given the sort of traction that they require. So how do you save yourself from this? First, try to avoid consultancies as much as possible. This is going to be cracked down on sooner or later, and more consultancies are being added to this list. If you're being hired by some company, make sure that they're offering you some sort of a job, some sort of a contract at least, so that you can sustain legally in the US. And finally, take a look at this article which explains just a couple days before essentially Trump administration is starting, what is happening is that ICE is already investing $20 million into phone surveillance equipment, which will allow them to use many ways, essentially, whether it's your Face ID, whether it's your fingerprint, whether it's basically you in any other form on the phone, essentially your carrier might provide this information, your phone network, that this person is essentially doing this. They may be able to get access to some of your private chats, some of your data, which you thought were safe. So make sure that you're not making that mistake, doing anything illegal essentially. They can get the proof in any way, whether it's legal or illegal. But as long as they have a proof and they build a case against you essentially, that's where things will start to get difficult. So don't make the same mistake that some of these students have already made and they have realized what's going wrong. It's only that they realize too late. And now they don't really have an option. Some of them are now looking to go to other countries. But then again, the red flag essentially in getting back to the US after that, getting a visa becomes extremely difficult if you've been flagged before. So make sure you don't make this mistake. Share this with the people who need to know, because trust me, many news channels are not covering this. It's just important information that is important for your kids, your parents, many of your friends essentially. And I'll keep you updated whenever there's basically any list of names that comes out essentially that I find officially, unofficially that you should stray away from. I'll keep you guys updated. As long as you're signed up on YMGrad.com, I'll send you emails. I'll let you know that these kinds of companies you should stay away from. If the company's name is in that list, avoid it. Just don't go for it. Trust me, it's not worth it. I also have a masterclass on the O1 visa upcoming very soon, and I do one masterclass every 2 or 3 months. So make sure if you're signed up on YMGrad, I'll keep you notified, because these kinds of visas, they don't require you to have a lottery essentially. They don't require you to have a cap or a particular salary level, which basically deters the employers to actually employ you for the H-1B, right? But you do need to have ability. So I'll tell you how you can build that ability. You can even have your own company in the US and sponsor yourself. All of that is possible. I'll teach you all of that in the masterclass. It's free, absolutely free to attend. You don't have to work with us for any services. Essentially, you can do it by yourself. But with that said, at least expand your knowledge. Understand how things work. It's time to be smart. H-1B is going to be changing. They're going to increase the salary levels as a minimum, and that's going to happen soon. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much.